Good afternoon. Welcome to the Department of Consumer Affairs webinar for registered creditors. My name is Adam Burr, and I'm one of the attorneys here at the department. I protect consumers by making sure that businesses follow the law. Now, occasionally I assist with processing some of the filings that you guys submit. My partner today is Deborah Lockhart, and she is the licensing supervisor. She oversees all of the department's licensing programs, and she is also a whiz with the department's online licensing platform. So today we will talk about some of the filing requirements for registered creditors. Please note that renewal season is now in full swing as it runs from November 1st through January 31st. If you have any questions during this webinar, please feel free to type them into the questions feature. We will have a designated time for questions and answers near the end of the presentation. So let's go ahead and get started. First, we have the legal disclaimer. This presentation is not meant to serve as a substitute for reading the various laws discussed, seeking legal counsel, or otherwise requesting department guidance and/or interpretations on the laws that it administers and enforces. The presentation merely serves as an introduction and an overview. So today we're going to talk about a brief intro of the department. Then we'll talk about closing fees. And we're just going to touch on closing fees. We're going to have another presentation on December 5th where we'll go into more detail about the closing fees. So then we'll talk about the maximum rate schedules. Then we'll talk about the consumer credit grantor notification. Then I will turn it over to Deborah, who will talk about filing online. And then finally, we'll go over some of the free resources on our website. So we are the South Carolina Department of Consumer Affairs. Our mission is to protect consumers from marketplace inequities through advocacy, mediation, enforcement, and education. And while all of you are representatives of businesses, you are also consumers because you purchase consumer goods and services in the marketplace every day. We have many ways in which we can help you. You can file a complaint, you can report a scam, you can report identity theft, you can background a business, you can request a free presentation, and lastly, we can answer your questions. So here's our website. There are a lot of things that you can do on our website. You can file a complaint, get a license, background a business, report identity theft, report a scam, and request a presentation. And if you click the About Us menu, you can find out about the many things that we do here at the department. Now I want to show you about searching complaints on our website. By searching complaints, you're able to background a business. You can see how many complaints the business has. You can see the dates of the complaints. You can see summaries of the complaints. And you can see how the complaints were closed according to the department's guidelines. So here's a screenshot of our complaints database for a business that I picked. Now you might notice that this particular business seems to have a lot of complaints. The quantity of complaints is not necessarily the most important thing to consider when evaluating a business. It is more important to evaluate the type of complaints and how the complaints are resolved. You can see that this company has mostly satisfactory resolutions. So now we really get into the meat of the presentation, and we come to the first of our three filings, the notice of the motor vehicle closing fee. Prior to charging a closing fee, a motor vehicle dealer must provide written notice to the department of the maximum amount of a closing fee that the dealer intends to charge. Now, the closing fee statute was substantially changed this year. We will cover some of those changes, but again, as I mentioned previously, we'll have another webinar on December the 5th that will go over the changes in more detail, as that one will be specifically geared towards automobile dealers. Now first, what is a closing fee? A closing fee is a fee for recovery of actual costs by an automotive dealership for all administrative and financial work needed to transfer and deliver the vehicle to the consumer. Now, closing fees are not intended to cover your selling costs and expenses or even all costs and expenses associated with operating the dealership. Closing fees are intended to cover the costs and expenses of transferring and delivering the vehicle from the dealership to the consumer. Now, these include, but are not limited to, compliance with all state, federal lender requirements, the preparation and retrieval of documents, the protection of the private personal information of the consumer, records retention, and storage costs. So who is required to file a closing fee? All motor vehicle dealers who want to charge a closing fee on a motor vehicle sales or lease contract. This fee must be filed with and permitted by the department prior to charging a closing fee. Now, the department does have the authority to review proposed closing fees for reasonableness. Now, are you required to file a renewal application for the closing fee? Well, that really depends on when you filed your last closing fee application. The closing fee statute changed on May 16th of 2023. So consequently, if you filed an application before May 16th of 2023, then you must submit a renewal application on or before January 31st, 2024. After you file your renewal application, you will not need to file a renewal application again until you want to change your closing fee amount. Now, if you filed an application on or after May 16th of 2023, then you do not need to file a renewal application until you want to change your closing fee amount. Exceeding 18% APR must file an annual maximum rate schedule with the department and pay an annual filing fee of $40 per business location. Some of the common mistakes we see in filing maximum rate schedules are not understanding the difference between a credit sale and a loan, which results in the wrong form being filed, not understanding the difference between variable and fixed APR, and not understanding the various categories of transactions, specifically secured versus unsecured. We'll go over all of these in the next few slides. Now first, when is a maximum rate schedule necessary? It is necessary whenever the consumer is being charged more than 18% APR. This could happen in a variety of circumstances. You could need one if financing is offered at your business, such as the buy here, pay here model. You could need one if all of the paperwork related to the sale is completed in your office at the time the sale takes place and the contract is later assigned to another business. You could also need a maximum rate schedule when the sale is offered on credit, but the credit price differs from the cash price because of a finance charge. Let's say I buy a car for $5,000. I make 10 $500 payments. This would be purchasing the car on credit, but the credit price is equal to the cash price. Now let's say I purchased the same car for $5,000. Instead of making 10 $500 payments, I make 12 $500 payments. The total cost of the car is $6,000. That $1,000 difference is a finance charge. The consumer will make 24 monthly installments of $250. In this scenario, the finance charge would be $1,000. When converted to an APR, the result is 18.16%. As 18.16% exceeds 18%, a maximum rate schedule is needed. Without filing a maximum rate schedule of at least 18.16%, the most that the dealer could charge would be 18%. So what are the types of maximum rate schedule filings? They are a credit sale and a consumer loan. Now, a credit sale occurs when a business sells an item to a borrower and allows the borrower to pay that business over a period of time. A consumer loan is when one business lends money to a borrower so that borrower can purchase an item from another business. Basically, if the consumer leaves your business with money, then it is a loan. If the consumer leaves your business with a product or service, then it is a credit sale. So for example, sorry, got ahead of myself. For example, a car dealership might offer financing through purchasing the vehicle or also on the repair work for the vehicle. Either way, it is a credit sale and not a loan. As such, if you finance the sale of either goods or services, then you should always sell instead of a loan. Now, I cannot stress this enough. Unless you are actually lending money, then you should not be filing maximum rate schedules for loans. Loans are different from credit sales, and they have different rules. For example, unless you are a supervised financial organization, such as a bank or a credit union, you must have a license from the Board of Financial Institutions if you charge interest on a loan that exceeds 12% APR. Now, a supervised lender also cannot sell goods. So please do not file for a maximum rate schedule for loans unless you're actually lending money. Likewise, if you are actually lending money, then you should not be filing a maximum rate schedule for credit sales. Also, do not indicate on the application that you are charging over 18% when making loans if you're not actually lending money. Same thing for loans. Don't say you're charging over 18% on the application when making credit sales if you are actually making loans. Well, when you file the wrong maximum rate schedule, or you state that you charge over 18% APR when making both loans and credit sales, but you only file a maximum rate schedule for one of them, then the department must reach out to you for clarification and must wait your response to the request for clarification, even if the department can presume your intentions. This slows down processing time, especially when you and all of your competitors are doing it. All right, I'm still seeing comments about issues with the sound. We do apologize for that. We had a meeting earlier today where we addressed it with the Department of Administration and their technology organization. Unfortunately, we're having some issues with our internet, so I think that's why the sound keeps going in and out. So I do apologize for that. So now we come to the difference between a variable rate and a fixed rate. With a variable rate, the interest rate changes with the market. The interest rate on any outstanding balance will vary as the US prime rate increases or decreases. So for example, assume the variable interest rate on a credit card is the prime rate plus 12.75%. In this instance, the margin, 12.75%, is added to whatever the prime rate is at the time to come up with the total interest rate. If the current prime rate is 5%, then the total interest rate is 17.75%. With the fixed rate, the interest rate remains the same throughout the duration of the term. With a fixed interest rate, the borrower will pay the same percentage of interest throughout the duration of the term, regardless of any changes in the market rate. Also, please note that you may charge one consumer 20% and another consumer 25% because one consumer might have a better credit history than the other. This would not make it a variable interest rate. Regardless of the amount of the rate, if the rate remains the same throughout the duration of the term, then it is a fixed rate. If you do charge a variable rate, then you must provide the department with the index for calculating changes to the rate and the cap. As a practical matter, variable rates are typically used in open-end credit transactions, such as credit cards or sometimes in some mortgages. It is very rare for a credit seller to charge a variable rate on the sale of a good or service, or for a lender to charge a variable rate on a typical installment loan. Many businesses will file for a variable rate without providing the department with an index for how that rate is calculated. When this happens, the department must reach out to you for clarification and await your response to the request for clarification. If we don't receive a response from you, we will remove the variable rate, but we still have to wait the time frame that we tell you to respond in. Stating that you charge a variable rate without providing an index explanation, especially when you don't charge a variable rate at all, slows down the processing time, especially when you and all of your competitors are doing it. So please do not state that you charge a variable rate if you don't, and if you are that rare business that happens to charge a variable rate, please provide the index explanation. So now we come to secured versus unsecured transactions. Secured transactions involve a lien on the property. The borrower puts up property as collateral that may be seized for failure to make payments. The property used for collateral may be real estate or non-real estate, such as a motor vehicle. Creditors may offer lower interest rates and better terms on secured credit transactions. Most motor vehicle dealers use secured credit transactions when conducting motor vehicle sales. Now, with unsecured transactions, it does not involve a lien on the property. There is no collateral. If the borrower fails to pay, the lender will initiate collection attempts and/or legal action. So in other words, you cannot repossess the vehicle. With an unsecured transaction, the lender takes the borrower's word that he will repay the debt. These are sometimes referred to as signature loans or used for services that will not be seized, such as dental work or funeral merchandise. If collection actions are initiated, then the borrower's credit score will be negatively impacted. Now, as a reminder, if you are planning to repossess the vehicle in the event of default, then you would file with a secured category for the maximum rate schedule. Now, you can file for both secured and unsecured and have different rates for each. For example, you may have a maximum rate schedule with a secured category as it relates to selling a vehicle and an unsecured category as it relates to any repair work that needs to be done on that vehicle. Now, open-end credit is also known as revolving credit. There is no end date. The borrower is allowed to make repeated purchases or obtain loans. As long as the borrower makes the payments, he is allowed to constantly get new loans or make new purchases. This arrangement continues until the borrower and creditor end their relationship. And a good example of this would be a credit card. So here's a chart showing the different types of categories for maximum rate schedules. There's unsecured, which again means that there's not any lien on the property. There are secured, which means that there is a lien on the property. The lien can be on real estate or non-real estate. There is open-end or revolving, which does not have an end date. And lastly, there is other, which is when no other category is appropriate. The department is not aware of a situation when the other category would be appropriate. Now we come to the last of the three filing requirements, the consumer credit grantor notification. Now at the department, we call this filing the CGN, so I may refer to it by that initialism. Persons who make consumer credit sales, leases, or loans, or who engage in rent-to-own transactions, and persons who take assignment of rights against debtors arising from such transactions are required to file a notification form. So when is a CGN filing necessary? You must file a CGN if your business either engages in consumer credit sales, consumer loans, consumer leases, or consumer rental purchase agreements in South Carolina, or you have an office or place of business in South Carolina, which takes assignment of and undertakes direct collection of payments from consumer credit sales, loans, leases, or rental purchase agreements. You have an annual gross volume of business in excess of $150,000, and you use written agreements to extend consumer credit. Your total gross volume of business would be your total gross receipts, not just your South Carolina income and not just from credit transactions. Now, an easy way to locate this number would be to look at your tax return. It would be the first number reported on that tax return. If you file forms 1065, 1120, or 1120S, it is on line 1A. If you file form 1040 with a Schedule C, it is on line 1. Now, mathematically, if a car dealer sold one car every week in a year at $3,000 per car, its gross volume of business would be $156,000. Now, if you meet the statutory requirements, you must file the CGN and you must pay a filing fee of $120 per location. If you extend credit on your website, or if you allow for payments to be made on your website, then your website is a separate business location and you must file a CGN for it. Here are some examples of some filing scenarios. If a company offers consumer loans in South Carolina and has an annual gross volume of $200,000, but does not use written agreements to extend consumer credit, then a CGN filing is not required. If a company has an office in South Carolina where it takes assignment of credit sales and uses written agreements, but only has an annual gross volume of business of $100,000, then a CGN filing is not required. Now, if a company offers consumer credit sales or consumer loans in South Carolina, has an annual gross volume of business of $300,000, and uses written agreements when extending consumer credit, then a CGN filing is required. Now, which CGN form should you file? If you engage solely in making consumer rental purchase agreements, which are known as rent-to-own transactions, then use the rent-to-own form. Otherwise, use the regular form. Now, a rental purchase agreement is an agreement for the use of personal property by an individual, primarily for personal, family, or household purposes, for an initial term of 4 months or less, whether or not there is an obligation beyond the initial period, that is automatically renewable with each payment, and permits the consumer to become the owner of the property. Now, rent-to-own transactions are typically used for items such as furniture, appliances, and consumer electronics. Now that you know about the 3 types of filings, please remember that the renewal period runs from November 1st to January 31st. Most businesses file in late January, so that is our high filing period. Now, while only car dealers file the closing fee, lots of businesses have to file the CGN and maximum rate schedule. So accordingly, you, your competitors, and even other types of businesses that would not be your competitors are all filing at the same time. The sooner you file, the sooner your application will get processed. Also, your applications can get processed faster if they do not contain mistakes. So now I'll have Deborah take over to discuss filing renewal applications online. So bear with us for just one moment while we switch control of the presentation.
Hello, this is Deborah Friday Lockhart, licensed supervisor. I hope everyone has been doing well and starting to enjoy the holiday seasons that's upon us. Today, we're going to review some features in the online system, the Licensure Gateway. So now, what is the Licensure Gateway? Okay, seems like we're having a few problems, but this is Deborah Friday Lockhart, licensed supervisor, and I hope that everyone is doing well and starting to enjoy the holiday seasons. I know that I am. A lot of the staff here starting to enjoy themselves also. So today we're going to review some features in the Licensure Gateway, our online system. Now, what is the Licensure Gateway? The Licensure Gateway is the department's online system that is used to provide a single portal to manage license and listings. It grants access to printable documents, invoices, online applications, and many more features. The Licensure Gateway is used to submit all initial and renewal applications. Documents can also be uploaded in the Licensure Gateway. Our online system is available for use of the organization administrators at any time. The Licensure Gateway supports 15 different programs that the department regulates. Today, we're just going to go over a portion of our online system. We're going to cover logging into the Licensure Gateway for the first time, becoming an organization administrator, how to file your renewal application, and then last, uploading documents and printing certificates. The website address is dcagateway.sc.gov. Now, if you have already registered to use the system, you do not need to register again. You would just log in with your email address and password. This is basically for first-time users only. So, once you've logged into the website, dcagateway.sc.gov, you would select Register Now. You will enter a password, then select Next. Now remember to keep all personal information in a safe, secure place. You will then receive a confirmation. You may print this confirmation page for your records. Your account has successfully been created. You are now done with registering to use the licensure gateway, so you can just select Exit. Now, let's talk about becoming an organization administrator. What is an organization administrator? The organization administrator will be the person or persons at the business who will be responsible for processing initials, renewals, printing those certificates, paying fees, or making changes. Now, to become an administrator, you must submit an administrator's request to the department online. A business or organization can now have more than one administrator. A request must be submitted for each administrator. So you would log into the licensure gateway. Like I said, you must be registered to submit an administrator's request. So once you log in, you're going to click on Organization Administration or click under User Options to submit the administrator's request to the department. You will enter your personal Social Security number. The system uses the Social Security number to consolidate an individual's license so they can have access to the information in the database. Then you would hit Search. If your Social Security number is in the system, your information will appear. If not, you would just click on Continue. Now, sometimes if you get to this page and you get an error message, most likely you have already registered. You can contact the department if you have any questions, and we'll be happy to assist you. Now, using the drop-down arrow or begin typing, select your business from the list. Now, some businesses have very, very similar names. So be sure you're selecting the correct business organization and the address is correct. All of the department licensees are in this list. But keep in mind that only the corporate names are in the list. All of the DBA names are not in the list. So your DBA, your doing business as name, is not in the list, only corporate names. You would verify the information is correct, and then you're going to submit it to the department. You will be returned to the home page, and you'll see a banner indicating a pending admin request has been found. Now, no business information will be visible yet. So all of your business information, if you can see, will be under here, and there's nothing there yet because your admin request has not been approved. The department will approve your admin request, but you may have to log back in later. So if your request has not been approved within one business day, please contact the department. I know that Tanisha and Celeste, they approve those quick and fast. So submit it to us and Tanisha gets those approved right away. Now notice you can see the name of your organization. Remember, there was no information there, but now you can see the name of your organization. How to submit a renewal application. Let's go over that process. So you would log into the licensure gateway using your email address and password. You're going to click on expiring soon. You're going to click on expiring soon. So we're going to click on expiring soon for the consumer granted notification. You will be able to submit all applications at one time. So notice there's a consumer granted notification, there's a max rate, there's a closing fee, and we're going to submit all three of those applications at one time. On the options, you're going to click on the renewal application. Make sure that you read the instructions, and then after you've read the instructions, you're going to click on I agree, and then you're going to click next. Also, there's some questions that you need to make sure that you have the answers for to proceed through the application. So what the questions, the 4 questions, what was the highest APR your business charged on consumer credit sales loans during the previous 12 months? What was the most frequent APR your business charged on consumer credit sales during the previous 12 months? And also for the credit grantor notification, the CGN, the annual gross volume of business in cash and credit combined, dollar amount reported to the IRS, Internal Revenue Service, or your most recent tax return. And also, you need the total number of consumer credit transactions, sales, leases, rent to own with South Carolina's consumers during the previous 12 months. So gather that information so you can have that information readily available to proceed through the application. Then you would review the company details information. Now, most of the information will already be pre-populated for you, so you're just basically looking at a lot of information, making sure it's correct, making changes if need to. The location details. You're going to click on Renew to proceed through the application, but clicking on Edit allows you to make changes to your application. So if you need to make changes, just click on Edit, but you have to click on Renew with the blue arrow. Then you're going to click on the drop-down arrow to renew, or you can select Discontinue License, then click Next. So you have the chance to renew your consumer credit grantor notification, your max rate schedule, your motor vehicle closing fee. So if you don't want to renew one of those, you're going to click on the drop-down arrow, and that drop-down arrow will allow you to discontinue or not renew that application. And then you would just click Next. Answer all questions. Read the questions carefully. Now, you're going to add the max rate. So you would click on Add. And then once you click on Add, you have your chance to add the max rate. Whether it's secured, unsecured, you have the ability to add your max rate there. And then you would just answer all of the questions. You would read over the motor vehicle dealer closing fee instructions. So now you're ready to submit the motor vehicle dealer closing fee application. So you're going to read over all of those instructions. Make sure you understand everything. You're going to continue to read the questions and answer the questions, and then you're going to select Next. If you notice, this application, a person has applied for $425, which requires some uploads, or it didn't move. Now, you're going to get to the verification page. You have now entered your consumer grantor notification, your max rate, and your motor vehicle dealer closing fee application. So review the entire verification page, then click I agree and submit the application when you're ready. Always remember that clicking on the green check marks, these green check marks, if you want to make any changes, just click on those check marks and you can make changes, or you can click on previous and it takes you back to the page to make that you want to make changes on. Now, after you have submitted your application, you have the chance to pay online. We're super excited about this because paying online is quick and it's easy. So if you select Pay Online, then it'll take you to the portal where you can actually make your payment. So have your credit card information ready and you can make your payment online. You also can select Pay by Check or Money Order. The department does take checks or money orders, and you must have those submitted to the department within 7 days. Now, we do have an organization user guide for you, and that user guide will tell you Give you all the information you need about paying invoices by credit card, paying invoices by check. Say if you wanted to submit your application, but you didn't want to pay by credit card right then, you can actually log back in later and pay by credit card. So it gives you a lot of information, tells you about logging into the licensure gateway for the first time, what we went over becoming the organization administrator, even how to apply for a license. So it gives you a lot of information that will help you with processing your applications in a timely manner. Now, this is very important, how to upload documents in the licensure gateway. We want to go over that today. First of all, why upload documents? It cuts down on the need for the department to send you a deficiency letter. The mail process could be slower, especially due to the holidays, and the mail is usually slower, so it cuts that down also. It keeps you from making an unnecessary visit to the department. Not that we don't want to see you, but if you file online and upload the documents, you don't have to come to the department. Your application gets processed quicker, which means you can print and post your certificate in a conspicuous place at your place of business faster. So let's go through the process of uploading documents. Of course, you have to log into the licensure gateway, dcagateway.sc.gov. You're going to click on the active tile. I chose to click on the active tile for the motor vehicle dealer closing fee because that's where uploads are required. So you're going to click where it says click here to check the status of your renewal, the red arrow. You're going to click there. Closing fee requests over $225 requires an addendum and supporting documents to be uploaded, or they can be submitted to the department. Under current applications, you're going to click on the blue tile. You see it where it says click here to check the status of the required documents. You would click there. Then you would click on plus uploads. You see plus uploads down at the very bottom in the pink. It says it's telling you that the upload of closing fee addendum. So you're going to click there. Now only GIPs and BMPs, TIFs, JPGs, PDF files are acceptable uploads. I mostly use PDFs, but these are the only documents that can be uploaded to the licensure gateway. Now, once the documents are uploaded, you will see View Files. Now, multiple documents can be uploaded. Uploading the required documents allows your application to be approved faster, processed faster. So you would click on Back to License, or you can click on the Home button because you've uploaded your documents. Now you're back on the home page. Your application or applications are now waiting to be reviewed by the department. Once the application is approved, the administrator or contact person, sometimes they are the same, will get an email telling them that the application has been processed. It's called an application process email. And the email looks like this. It tells you that the South Carolina Department of Consumer Affairs has processed one or more of your registered creditor filings you submitted. You may download and print your certificate of registration from SCDCA's online license systems. It also gives you information about the guidance on how to print those certificates. Now, how to print certificates in the licensure gateway. Now, we do get a lot of questions on printing certificates with registered creditors. So we wanted to go over how to print certificates. And of course, you would log into the licensure gateway. Everything is logging into the licensure gateway. You're going to click on the organization's name. At the very bottom, you see Jack Cars LLC. You would click on the organization's name. And then you would click on locations. You see that they have one location. Some businesses have 5, 6, 7 locations, but they have one location. Then you're going to click on the location's name. Right here, you're going to click on the location's name that says testing. You click on that name. There it goes. Click on the location's name. Then you're going to click on the license you wish to print. So we're going to click on the motor vehicle dealer closing fee tile. So we want to print that certificate for the closing fee. So once you click on that, you're going to click on print certificate of approval, and the certificate will load. Now, once you get the certificate and the certificate is loaded, you want to make sure that you check to make sure that everything is actually spelled right. Okay, you want to check the name, the address, the closing fee amount. Make sure the amount is right. Check the administrator's name, Carrie Gruby Leibarker. Remember that certificates are non-transferable and they should be posted at your place of business in a conspicuous place. And make sure you check the expiration date. The expiration date on this one is 12/31/2099. And like Mr. Burr, Adam Burr, actually told you, you don't have to file again unless you wanted to make a change. And then notice also on the maximum rate and the consumer granted notification, the expiration date is 1/31/2025. So that's your max rate and that's your consumer granted notification. So that's just a short overview of the online system. What I'm going to do now is turn it back over to Adam Burr. He's going to give you some more helpful tools and good information. So everyone take care, and I'm giving you a few minutes while I actually turn it back over to him. Thank you.
So what if you forget everything that we just told you regarding these filings? You can go to our website, consumer.sc.gov, hover over the menu item that says Business Resources/Laws, then click Licensing, then click Registered Creditors, and here you will find valuable resources that will address the filing requirements. Here's the contact information for various staff members should you have questions during the renewal period. For general legal questions, including filing requirements, please feel free to reach out to me. We have Tanisha and Deborah who can assist you with some of the more nuts and bolts questions about what you need to submit with the maximum rate schedule and the credit grantor notification. And we also have Teresa who can assist you with some of the nuts and bolts that you need to submit for filing the closing fee application. So again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. I thank you for watching this presentation, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day.